Late August 1944. At an observation post in Pas-de-Calais, France, German technical officers stared at a report that defied all logic. Their V-1 flying bombs, launched towards London, were being destroyed at an unbelievable rate of 82%. This wasn't due to daring fighter pilots or barrage balloons, but by anti-aircraft fire over the coastal gunbelt. Shells were exploding with impossible accuracy, not needing direct hits to bring the missiles down. Oberst Max Wachtel, commander of the V-1 offensive, received these reports with growing alarm. The interception rate had skyrocketed from 17% in June to an astonishing 82% by late August. German scientists were witnessing a technological shock that contradicted everything they knew. Unbeknownst to Wachtel, this was the work of one of World War II's most closely guarded secrets, the proximity fuse, or VT, variable time fuse, as the Allies called it. This revolutionary technology was systematically destroying Hitler's terror weapon with a precision that German physics deemed impossible. The story began just 10 weeks earlier, on June 13, 1944. A week after D-Day, Hitler unleashed his Vergeltungswaffe, vengeance weapon, on London. The V-1, a pilotless aircraft powered by a pulse jet engine, carried 850 kilograms of amatol explosive at 640 kilometers per hour. It was the world's first operational cruise missile, and German high command believed it would bring Britain to its knees. Dr. Robert Lusser, the V-1's control system designer, calculated that Allied interception was nearly impossible. Fighter planes struggled to catch them, and the probability of a direct hit from anti-aircraft fire was less than 1 in 10,000 shells. This wasn't propaganda, but sound ballistic science. Yet within days, troubling reports reached German intelligence. British anti-aircraft defenses were adapting with suspicious speed. By late June, the interception rate climbed from 10% to 24%. By July, the statistics became truly inexplicable. German observers on the French coast witnessed V-1s suddenly surrounded by flak bursts, then tumbling from the sky, despite the explosions occurring too far away for direct hits. They were witnessing proximity fuses turning near misses into kills. The technology had been operational in the Pacific since January 1943, when the USS Helena used it to shoot down a Japanese dive bomber. German intelligence had failed completely. They had even dismissed earlier reports of proximity fuse research as disinformation, concluding the technology was impossible due to the immense technical challenges of miniaturization and durability. By August 1944, American factories were producing 40,000 VT fuses daily. The British had reorganized their entire anti-aircraft defense system. Guns equipped with American SCR-584 radar automatically tracked targets, calculated trajectories, and fed firing solutions to guns. The VT fuse, containing miniature radio transmitters, would sense proximity to the V-1 and trigger a detonator, sending steel fragments through its hull. The 82% interception rate triggered crisis meetings at German headquarters. Wachtel suspected sabotage, but inspections found nothing wrong with the missiles. The problem only manifested against British defenses. German experts concluded the British had revolutionary anti-aircraft systems, but without captured examples, they couldn't determine the specifics. They tried various tactics, different altitudes, larger salvos, night launches, but nothing worked. The kill rate remained devastating. The proximity fuse's security was nearly perfect. Production was compartmentalized across 110 factories, with workers knowing only their specific tasks. Even the name variable time was a deliberate deception. By 1944, the American electronics industry was fully dedicated to fuse production. By war's end, 22 million proximity fuses would be produced, costing over $1 billion. Daily production peaked at 40,000 units, and costs dropped from $732 per unit in 1942 to $18 by 1945. This was a stark contrast to Germany's handcrafted, limited production weapons. America mass-produced revolutionary technology at an unprecedented scale. Monthly American proximity fuse production exceeded Germany's total V-1 production for the entire war. The device had to withstand 20,000 g acceleration and 25,000 RPM spin in extreme temperatures. Sylvania developed miniature vacuum tubes based on hearing aid designs, reinforced to survive these forces. By September 1944, the V-1 offensive was effectively neutralized. Of 9,521 V-1s launched from ground sites against Britain, only 2,515 reached London, resulting in 6,184 civilian deaths and 17,981 injuries. While tragic, these casualties were a fraction of German intentions. General Frederick Pyle, commanding Anti-Aircraft Command, estimated that without proximity fuses, V-1 casualties would have been 4 to 5 times higher. This American innovation saved London from immense devastation. The German failure to detect proximity fuses represented one of history's greatest intelligence disasters. Despite extensive networks and technical expertise, they never understood what they faced. Not a single intact proximity fuse fell into German hands during the V-1 campaign. Remarkably, during the Battle of the Bulge, German forces captured an American ammunition dump containing proximity fuses, but failed to recognize their significance, blinded by their assumption that such devices were impossible. After Germany's surrender, interrogations revealed complete German ignorance. Oberst Max Wachtel told Allied officers they suspected improved radar or faster-setting fuses, but never imagined self-thinking shells. German scientists shown captured American VT fuses expressed disbelief. They couldn't comprehend the tube's surviving acceleration, the batteries remaining viable, or the circuits functioning after being fired from a gun. They estimated being 10 years behind American technology. The proximity fuse demonstrated that World War II's outcome was determined as much in laboratories and factories as on battlefields. While Germany pursued exotic wonder weapons, America focused on multiplicative technologies that enhanced existing weapons. The proximity fuse made every anti-aircraft gun 5 to 10 times more effective. The V-1 program relied heavily on slave labor, with tens of thousands of concentration camp prisoners dying in underground factories. Meanwhile, American workers voluntarily worked overtime for premium wages, not knowing exactly what they produced, but understanding its importance. The transformation was dramatic. Before proximity fuses, destroying a V-1 required an average of 2,500 heavy anti-aircraft shells. With proximity fuses, this dropped to 100 shells. The gun belt's interception rate rose from 17% to 82% in just 10 weeks. This wasn't achieved through courage or training, but through the mass production of advanced technology on a scale Germany couldn't match or comprehend. The proximity fuse was declassified in September 1945. The War Department announcement began. One of the most important weapons developed during the war, surpassed in effectiveness only by the atomic bomb. For German scientists who had puzzled over V-1 failures, the revelation brought understanding and humiliation. They had been defeated not by strategy or courage, but by an industrial capacity they hadn't imagined possible. On that remarkable day in late August 1944, when proximity fuses destroyed 82% of German V-1s, the nature of warfare changed forever. The Germans launching their vengeance weapons never knew what invisible technology was defeating them. They had done everything right by their understanding, yet were defeated by mass-produced electronics they couldn't conceive. The proximity fuse saved London through thousands of small explosions, each guided by technology German science deemed impossible. It was industrial democracy's triumph over totalitarian engineering, mass production over crafted perfection. The Germans never discovered what hit their V-1s as they fell burning from the sky, defeated by a secret they couldn't conceive, and an industrial might they couldn't match. Here is an image depicting the scene.